We're engaged!
Is that our thumbnail?
Uh-huh.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel with my fiance, Tyler. Fiance babe. Fun fact, one day after posting the Meet My Boyfriend video is when we got engaged, so we really caught our final opportunity there. I feel like there were times in the week where I didn't think I was gonna finish editing that video, and you like looking back now and you were like, oh, so when's this going up? And now I know why. So if you saw my vlog, the last video I posted, basically I vlogged the week leading up to getting engaged, and that was something I was planning to do for a long time, was to vlog that week. Obviously not knowing what was coming Saturday, but like halfway through the week, Tyler and I were talking and I was telling him I was vlogging, and he was like, oh, so how does it work? How long do you film for? And so typically when I do a week-long video, I'll film from Monday to Friday to show the work week. And so I told him, I was like, oh yeah, I started filming on Monday and then I'll keep it going through Friday. Well, Tyler knew it was coming on Saturday, and he knew that I would find it really special to have clips from the day. So he was trying to find a way to get me to continue filming through the weekend. And like
Subtle inception.
Subtle inception, yes. Like we talked about, Tyler, part of his job, he's been working on original worship music, and he actually had just finished writing his first original worship song that they were set to be playing at the church that Sunday. And so we were talking about it, and I was like, oh, maybe I should keep it going through the weekend to show that. And then I was like, yeah, but it's not even recorded yet, so it's not like I'm gonna be able to include a link or anything like that, or like really show you guys. And then I was like, also we're hanging out with Caleb and Caitlin on Saturday, which we'll get to. And he's like, oh no, they won't care, like it'll be totally fine.
They're super chill.
They're super chill. And I was like, I don't know, so I was still kind of thinking about it. But then if you watched that vlog, and I'll have it linked in one of these corners if you haven't, Friday night we went to dinner with my family, and we got back super late and I was just really tired and completely forgot to close out the vlog anyway. So I did end up getting some clips on Saturday, which is really fun because now as we're telling the story of our engagement, I'll be able to insert some of those clips as we are talking.
So I had been planning on proposing on this date, it was May 1st, for about a month probably at least, and was figuring out exactly how to do it and brainstorming ideas and all that good stuff. But the first major moment or first major part of it was having breakfast with Casey's dad. And so I secretly got her dad's phone number from her brother, who we spent a lot of time with her family and stuff, and they're all really amazing, super thankful for them, and then I get to be joining their family. But I didn't want Casey to know at all that I was meeting up with her dad, so I got his phone number from her brother, and then also told him, I was like, hey, can we just keep this between you and me that we're getting breakfast? And he was like, absolutely, my lips are sealed. And
they weren't sealed.
You're spoiling it.
I know.
So we had breakfast and it was fantastic, just me and him, and had some really great conversations, and he was very excited that we were going to be getting engaged and getting married. And so it was really encouraging to just see how excited he was and how supportive he was, so that was really great. So we left for breakfast, and about an hour-ish after leaving, I get a phone call because...
I'll tell my part now.
Yeah, you take it away.
So basically, to kind of set the stage, Tyler and I had been sure since I would probably say like February that we knew we wanted to get married, and we knew our timeline for marriage, and also how long we wanted to be engaged. And so I was thinking and hoping it would be sometime during the month of May. So anyways, it was a random Thursday, and I got a text from my dad, and the text said, Casey, you got yourself a really good one, with a smiley emoji and a thumbs up. And I was freaking out. I was so excited. I called my mom. I FaceTimed her, and she answered the phone by saying, why are you so excited? And I was like, Dad just texted me this. Does that mean they talked? Did they blah, blah, blah? And she was at the doctor's office, and so she had a mask on. And she told me later, she was like, it's a really good thing I had a mask on because I was not happy with your dad in that moment. And the mask concealed that, but she played it off super well. She was like, I'm not at home right now. I have no idea what's going on. We haven't heard anything from him. And the one time she's allowed to say this, but she was like, I promise you, Casey, I know nothing. To the point where I was like, oh no, I hope he's like planning something, like I hope our timeline isn't going to be pushed way back, you know? And so when my dad sent that text, I texted him back and I was like, I know, but why do you say that? And I didn't hear anything back, but that's when...
Yep. That's when my phone started ringing. And so I answer, and Casey's dad, Gary, is just like, so I just texted Kaci, and you know, it was a casual text, just told her that, you know, she found a good one and stuff. And then she texted me and she said, wait, what do you mean? And and he was like, and then I realized, like, wait, was I not supposed to tell Kaci? And I was like, well, that's kind of what I meant. He's like, I thought that meant, like, don't tell anybody else. I figured that she would know because she's the one you're marrying, so she would at least know. And I was like, no, I want it to be a secret for the proposal. So in case you wouldn't see it coming.
I don't know what my dad, I think he obviously knew the proposal was a surprise, but I think for whatever reason he didn't think it was a secret that they went to breakfast. But they came up with a plan.
So they had another family dinner the night before that Kaci and I unfortunately weren't able to make it to because we had youth group that night. And so I told him, I was like, wait, what if you just mentioned that it came up as a topic of conversation at dinner? And so that's what he told her, and it worked perfectly.
Well, it was
almost
great.
Too good.
It almost worked too well because they had gone to dinner the night before, and it was my family, but it was also a couple of my parents' friends and one of my aunts and some of my cousins who had recently met Tyler. And so my dad was just saying, we were talking last night and they were all saying how much they really like Tyler. And I was bummed because I was like, I mean, I'm glad they like him, but I was like, oh, so it wasn't what I thought it was. Yeah. And then I saw Tyler that day because I think I brought you lunch at the church. And I was like, so my dad texted me this and I was all excited because I thought it meant this, but it didn't. And then like afterwards, Tyler was like, you were like, I was trying so hard to just like keep a straight face. And you're like, oh babe, like that was nice that they said they liked me though. Whatever.
Yeah, that was a really funny conversation. It was really hard though, because Kaci, like I said, it worked kind of too well. It was really hard to just see her that sad and not break. But it was totally worth it because the surprise absolutely paid off. So it was great. Like I said, I had been planning and brainstorming for a little while already. But at that point, after having the official blessing from Kaci's dad, I set it all in motion and started texting everyone and just getting the ball rolling with the exact plan. And so one of the first steps in that was making sure that Kaci had the whole day free, of course, because I wanted to make the whole day special. So I asked my friend Caleb and his wife to text Kaci and I to invite us to like a day trip to Santa Cruz, like a day-long double date type of thing. And they're a couple that we love and hang out with a lot. So I'm assuming it felt pretty normal for you to get a text from them.
It did. So like I said, we already kind of knew our timeline. I had just told Tyler like the only things that were really truly important to me were that like obviously he would talk to my dad, which he knew, and that wasn't something that I needed to even tell you. But that also there were like a couple of my really close friends that I wanted him to that I wanted to be a part of it. And they had me literally convinced that they knew nothing. I feel like I can tell when they're lying, and I was 100% convinced they knew nothing. So apparently all the people closest to me are much better liars than I thought. So all that to say, when Caleb texted us, there was the little thought of, could it be something? But I was like, there's no way it could be because he hasn't talked to anybody yet. So it's probably going to be at least a couple more weeks.
So they sent us that text, and we planned to spend the whole day with them up until the Friday before the Saturday that we got engaged. I had them text Kaci and I and bail. But then we had the whole day to ourselves. So then I was like, well, what do you want to do in Santa Cruz? And trying to once again just make it seem like I didn't have a plan, even though I literally had like an itinerary.
Then it was the proposal day.
Yep.
So that was a lot of lead up to now even just starting the story.
I show up to pick her up. And we make our way down towards Santa Cruz, and we went to Pete's to get some matcha for Kaci because she loves Pete's matcha. And then we went to a really nice park and did our quiet times together and read our Bibles. And
it's really sweet.
And that's something we enjoy doing together and being outside. And that's something like that I want to be a part of the rest of our lives and do that for the rest of our lives. So that was a special and meaningful thing for me, and I think for Kaci too, and something that I knew I wanted to be a part of that day. So did that, and then once again, something else I want to do for a lifetime with Kaci is eat brunch. So
we both really love brunch. I really love brunch.
Heck yeah, it's so good. So we went to a fun brunch spot in Los Gatos also, and then from there went to the winery that I had reservations at, and it was really cool up in the Santa Cruz mountains and with some really cool views, and that was just really nice and peaceful afternoon.
And there weren't a ton of people, so we kind of had like
I was surprised.
Yeah.
I thought that it would be pretty packed, and so that's why I made a reservation way in advance. And even on their website when I looked, it said that it was like one of the first days they were opening part of their patio and all this stuff, and so I thought it'd be packed, but it was really nice and peaceful and really quiet, and it was a great afternoon. So from the winery, we go to Santa Cruz, and we have a specific spot in Santa Cruz where we have some really meaningful memories. Spent some time there,
Although some lady was sitting in our bench and we kept
we couldn't sit on
there.
the exact bench.
Yeah. We were like, maybe she'll leave, and she was just like parked out. So we went to the bench near it and kind of like stood near the spot, but then we're like, I don't think she's leaving anytime soon.
So then came one of my favorite parts of the story. Because like Kaci was explaining, there was moments where she was a little bit suspecting that it could be the day, but I was trying really hard to make her think that it wasn't the day. So we're in Santa Cruz at this special spot, and I was like, Kaci, this has been an amazing day. I'm so glad we got to spend it together. You know what would top it off? Just make it even better? Chick-fil-A.
I'm like, Chick-fil-A? Really? I love me some Chick-fil-A. But I was like, okay, I guess it's not happening then, because Chick-fil-A is on the way back home. So I'm like, okay, I guess we're going home.
So let it sit for a minute, and then I was like, oh, you know what? Actually, if we want to do something on the way, if you're not hungry yet, I know this cool lookout point in the Santa Cruz Mountains that's kind of on the way home. And my friend showed it to me last weekend, and we could go up there for a minute and let's have a little stop, kill some time before we go eat dinner, before we go to Chick-fil-A.
And that was the point where I was like, what would you have said if I was like, no, I'm really hungry? And you were like, I was just praying that you wouldn't. So I was like, yeah, we can stop.
Yeah.
And so we're driving there, and it's kind of in the Mount Hermon area, which is like a Christian campground in the Bay Area. And I'm seeing signs for that. And so I was like, oh, are we like near Mount Hermon right now? And Tyler was just playing super dumb. You were like, I don't know, I'm just like, I'm trying to remember which turnoff Logan took, and I was like, okay, he doesn't seem to know where we are, so, but then we drive to the lookout place and park the car and get out of the car.
The one giveaway.
He can't hide, physiology, I guess, because I go to give him a hug and his heart is beating so fast. So it's like, could it be? But then also, so Tyler has like a fanny pack he normally keeps his...
Why are you laughing at it?
I love it, babe.
She's used to it.
I'm used
the words
to it.
she said.
He has a fanny pack that he normally keeps like his keys and wallet in because he doesn't like having them in his pockets. And he left that in the car and he didn't have anything with him. So I was like, well, there's no ring. But little did I know, he had sent it ahead with some friends. So we start walking up the little trail. It's like a little trail going up to a lookout point, and there's just like pretty grass and wildflowers everywhere.
Big old trees. It's a beautiful place. There's a really cool cross up there and everything.
A giant wooden cross.
I had sent some friends up ahead of us, and Logan was a part of that crew, and then Jake and Sarah, and then Kirsten and JT, who's one of Casey's best friends, and her husband. They all went up ahead of us, and they set up some picnic blankets, a table with flowers and candles, and
charcuterie board.
Yep, and
pictures.
Yeah, picture of us, a little sign that says Tyler and Kaci that Logan's wife Kelsey made, really beautiful, and then a little Bluetooth speaker playing some nice peaceful music, the playlist that I put together. So we're walking up there, there's this wonderful setup. Kaci doesn't know about it yet. She might be a little bit like expecting
I knew his heart
something.
was beating, that's all I knew.
That's all she knew. Okay.
Well, I mean, obviously it's beating, thank the Lord, but it was like beating hard.
So we're walking up there, and as we're getting close, I can start to see everything that was set up because I was expecting it. And so I saw it up there, and so I turned to Kaci and I said, so remember how your dad texted you like a week and a half ago, and you got really excited because you thought that it meant that we were meeting up to talk about me proposing and all that good stuff? And she was like, yeah. And I just told her, I was like, so that was actually exactly what you thought it was.
And I was like, wait, really?
She's like, are you serious? Is this happening? Like, wait, what? And then just totally, I don't know, dumbfounded. It seemed like it was really fun. She kept stopping as we're walking, and I was like, come on, let's just keep walking. She's like, wait, no, seriously, is this actually happening? Ty, is this happening? I'm like, come on, let's keep walking. And so we keep walking up.
But I feel like it was really sweet to have that moment, because I feel like all my friends who I've talked to and getting engaged say that they like have almost blacked out because it's just like so surreal that this moment that you looked forward to is actually happening. And so I feel like it was really sweet to actually have that moment of like, this is happening, and be able to soak that in a little bit. And like 2 seconds after you said the thing about my dad, I saw the whole setup, so it was like, oh my goodness, this is actually happening.
Yeah.
And then at that point, like after I knew it was already happening, I saw our friend Marissa pop out.
Literally her head just popped out of the tree.
Her head just pops out and she's taking pictures. And I was just like, yes, there's gonna be pictures.
It was so great.
Yeah.
So got her to finally walk up there, got her to keep walking. And there was a cool bench and sat her down on the bench. And then next to the bench was a bowl of water. So I pulled that out.
With rose petals in it.
And it was really pretty. And I washed Kaci's feet in it.
And I feel like that's the moment I actually like teared up the most, because the rest of it I was just like smiling so much my cheeks hurt. But that was like the moment of like, this is really happening.
Yeah.
And able to like really just soak that in. It was really special.
So I washed her feet, and then I pulled out a note that I had written, because I knew I wouldn't be able to just say everything I wanted on the spot and wouldn't have been able to like memorize it, because I was just overwhelmed with emotion too. So I made sure to write it down. So I read her the letter, and then at the end of the letter I looked her in the eyes and said, Kaci, I love you, and it would be my honor to spend the rest of my life with you. And then pulled out the ring, popped it open, and said, Kaci Nicole Pacillo, will you marry me?
And I said yes. That was actually too the very first time we said I love you, because we had been talking probably back in February and knew that we meant that and knew that we wanted to say that. But we knew that when we said those words, we wanted to truly, truly mean them. And that while we knew that we meant them and felt that emotion, that love is not just a feeling, but it's also a commitment and a choice. And I had told Tyler the story about one of my best friends who her husband, when they were dating, he waited till he proposed to say I love you, because he only wanted to say I love you to his wife, which was the same for you. Wanted to be able to put the commitment behind that and like say, I'm not just saying that I love you, but I'm literally committing myself to you for life. And so there were so many times leading up to getting engaged that we wanted to say it, and so many times we almost slipped up and said it. But it was really, really special to be able to say those words for the first time in that moment. And then for seconds later for him to get down on one knee and ask me to spend the rest of my life with him. So it was the most magical moment ever. We actually had a friend record the whole thing, and so we'll insert a clip of that now.
So Kaci had just said yes, and we're in this euphoric moment. And another little part that I had planned was for two of Kaci's best friends who don't live in the area. One of them lives in LA, and another one lives in Germany. So part of the plan was to have them, even though they're far away, to still be a part of it somehow. So they were both on FaceTime watching the whole time, which Kaci had no idea. So right after she said yes, we were completely ecstatic. And to top it off, I was like, do you want to say hi to Heather and Kelly? And she was lit up, and she's like, wait, what? And I was like, yep, they're on FaceTime right over there. And
so Kirsten, another one of my best friends, had them on FaceTime, and I was just like, what? Like, I was shook.
You want to say hi to Heather and Kelly?
Yay! Oh my gosh! Literally, it was 3 a.m. for Heather in Germany. She stayed up until 3 a.m. with 2 little kids that she has to be able to be there for that moment. So basically from there, we are just celebrating the moment. We popped some champagne with the friends who were there with us. And then we ended up going into like the little meadow area to take pictures with Marissa. I'll insert a couple here. She is incredible. I'll also have her linked below, but she took beautiful, beautiful pictures of us, which I will literally cherish for forever. And then Tyler was like, well, we actually have dinner reservations with these couple friends who are here, so we're gonna head out to that now. And we get in the car and we start driving, and I was like, we should FaceTime my parents. And Tyler was like, well, do you want to FaceTime them now or like maybe after dinner? And I'm like, why can't I just FaceTime them now? And then I'm like, well, how, like, are we really close to dinner? And he's like, no, it's a little bit of a drive, but like, I don't know, maybe it'd be kind of nice to just like enjoy this time us or whatever. And at that moment I was like, my parents are for sure gonna be at dinner. So I was like, there's no way he would be trying to get me to not FaceTime them, but it's probably part of the surprise. So in my head, I'm like, there's these couple friends and my parents are for sure gonna be at dinner, like my family. But so we're driving. We're engaged! And there's a little bit of a drive from Santa Cruz, the 17 highway, if you know the area. And so after we had been in the car for like maybe 20 minutes or so, Tyler was like, well, I'm actually going to have you put a blindfold on because I don't want you to know what restaurant we're going to. And so we had just bought a box of the disposable face masks earlier in the day because he forgot his. And so he grabbed one out of the box and literally put like the face mask over my face as a blindfold, which he got a picture of.
Yep. So we're in the car, Casey's blindfolded, and she thinks we're going to dinner, which we were, but meanwhile, this was going on.
Five minutes away. Casey's blindfolded, and so we're hoping to get Casey out in front, get her out close enough to hear, and then Chris is gonna kind of lead us all, and we're just gonna yell.
I think just as he takes her blindfold off, we're gonna say congratulations or
Celebrate.
I don't have anything else.
So we pull up, I have no idea where we are. I'm thinking we just like got to the parking lot of some restaurant. Then he walks me blindfolded a couple steps, and here's what happened.
Ready? Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
Not a dry eye in my face. The house maybe.
Are you serious?
No.
I was like, you really leaned into it.
See that red sparkling? What's going on here? Yeah, you're fine. Yeah, you're fine.
Thanks so much.
Come here. You're in Tahoe. We're not in Tahoe. It was a lie. We lied. He lied.
Welcome to the family.
You look so pretty too. This is perfect. Come here. This is gonna be an uncle.
Hello? She said yes, by the way, and then you asked. I didn't get a chance to text you back yet.
I literally cannot even explain that moment of Tyler pulling the blindfold off my eyes. It was probably like right behind the actual proposal, the most like overwhelmingly special moment of my life, and not even just special, but just like feeling so overwhelmingly loved in that moment of having like that realization instantly that Tyler had been coordinating with every single one of these people, and that he had worked with our friends Charles and Kristen to plan this entire engagement party with so many of the people that we love and care about so much.
And they did an amazing job. I obviously knew the party was happening, but even just showing up and seeing it, I was blindfolded, but just being there, seeing it all, seeing all these people was incredible, and I was totally just blown away, even just pulling up and seeing it all and seeing so many people we love there to celebrate us and support us and be there for us. And so it was amazing. So thanks so much to the Homers for hosting and putting together an amazing party for us too.
It was truly like a night we will never forget.
So one thing that I knew would be really special to Kaci, and I wanted and was really special to me, was to have Kaci's dad pray over us at the engagement party also. And so I asked him to do that while we were having breakfast the previous week. And so he wrote out a really, really meaningful and just impactful prayer that he read and prayed over us that evening. And we have a little video of that.
Let's all pray. Thank you, Father, for this glorious day you have given us. Not only have you given us life and breath, but today we also rejoice in the impending marriage of Kaci and Tyler. You know only so well the number of prayers that have come before your throne that have been a seed for the harvest that we are here today to celebrate. There is no way any of us can know the whys and wherefores that have transpired to bring us to this day. The timing is yours, not ours. I know that you are faithful and true to answer prayers as we stand here as witness to the engaged couple, Kaci and Tyler. I also believe that your hand of blessing will remain on them as they walk before you in faithful obedience to your word and your leading. One day in the not so distant future, the harvest that you brought in Kaci and Tyler will further flower before you as they exchange vows of marriage. Lord, I thank you for all of us gathered here today. A special thanks goes out to the Homers who have opened their home to us today. May your blessing be upon them for their kindness and for those who gave of their time and resources to bring food and drink to enjoy. As we celebrate Kaci and Tyler, may your Holy Spirit move amongst us to season our conversation and add a holy savor to the atmosphere. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Cheers towards a marriage that will mirror God's love for us in its depth, in its breadth, and just its extravagance. So here's to Tyler and Kaci.
Special thing, like literally ever. For many reasons. One, because I'm standing next to the woman of my dreams right here. And very, very excited to marry her in the not so distant future, as it was already put. I'm so honored to just be here and spend the rest of my life with her once we make those vows. And I'm so honored to have each one of you here with us tonight. I was talking to my dad, of course, a couple minutes ago, and he was just saying, you can tell a lot about people by the people that they surround themselves with. And he was just saying how all of you are absolutely incredible. And Kaci and I 100% agree, and we love all of you so, so much, and are so thankful that you're all here to celebrate with us, coming from near and far. And wow, it's just seriously an honor, and we are completely overjoyed and just can't even take it all in right now because it's so just crazy. But we're so, so excited. So glad you're here to celebrate with us, and can't wait to see you at the next one. What are we supposed to do?
So that's our engagement story. It was literally the most special day of our lives so far. And it was actually really funny because I was talking to a friend yesterday and telling her the whole story. And so I was just telling my friend, it was so crazy to realize that here I was, worried that Tyler hadn't even talked to like 2 of my closest friends, and knowing his character and knowing that he wanted to make it so special for me. So knowing in my head that he was going to, but at the same time feeling like, well, they don't know anything, like he hasn't talked to them, like is he going to? And my friend who I was telling this story to just pointed out a really cool parallel in saying that's sort of how it is with God. that we worry like, well, what about this, God? Are you gonna have this in control or whatever? Like, are you going to, like, do you see my heart? Do you know what I want? And do you know that this thing over here really matters to me? And we're worried and we're trying to take control and we're like, but God, what about this? What about this? And he's just saying to us, do you trust me? Do you know my character? And he doesn't assure us by saying, well, actually, here's exactly what the plan's gonna be and here's how it's gonna unfold. He directs us by saying, like, do you know my character? Do you trust me? And then when we actually see his plan unfold, it is literally 10 million times better than anything that we could have thought up on our own. Like, here I was stressing out like, oh no, like he hasn't talked to like, you know, a handful of my closest friends yet. And little did I know, Tyler was literally coordinating with like so many of our closest friends, with our family. Tyler's parents flew in from San Diego to get to be there, friends and mentors from our church community. Like, he was literally planning with all of it. The friend, Kelly, who was on FaceTime, she was actually there at the party. There was a moment when I realized that. She literally drove up from LA, which is like an 8-hour drive, and back to LA in the same day. He had another one of my friends fly in from LA, and she was telling me afterwards, because it was her first time getting to meet Tyler, even though she's heard obviously a ton about him, and she was like, Case, he was like, can I help you with any of your travel arrangements? Like, just like so thoughtful and intentional. And so I just thought it was really cool that my friend pointed out that parallel, because not only is it a parallel for our actual engagement story and for how he proposed and just that whole day, but I think for me personally, it's also a parallel for what it's looked like for me in waiting for this and in waiting for Tyler. Because if you've watched my videos for a while, you know that I've had a lot of videos on singleness. Now I am gonna start crying. There was many years of waiting, and there were so many moments in that where I was like, God, like, do you even care about like what I want? And like, do you see that? And do you see these desires of my heart? And God obviously never laid out for me like, here's when it's gonna happen and here's who it's gonna be and here's what it's gonna look like. But continually in those years of waiting, just, you know, continue to show me more of his character and of who he is, and that he loves me and that he knows my heart and that he created me, and continually asked me to trust him. And sort of like that moment of Tyler removing the blindfold, that moment of that blindfold coming off and me getting to see the plan that he actually had all along, that in all those days of discouragement, he saw this day. I think that was a really crazy thought for me to have, like, as the engagement day was happening and I was just standing in like literally this overwhelming joy. It was crazy for me to have that thought of like, God saw this day. Because he stands outside of time, he saw this day and even stood in this day in all of those moments of discouragement for me and for you too. He knew what was coming. And so it just sort of felt like that blindfold moment, like what actually happened at our engagement party, where it was just like this overwhelming feeling of like, oh my goodness, this is what's been being planned this entire time. And I feel like that's just also a parallel for our relationship in and of itself, and him bringing you into my life. Of, I couldn't see it that whole time, but there's that moment of it being unveiled and seeing what God was doing, what God was planning, what God was preparing the whole time. And it was always you, and it was always good, even when I couldn't see it, and even when I doubted, and even when I was discouraged.
It was just a really special day and very meaningful for both of us. Mm-hmm. And I think it was just, neither of us can imagine a more perfect day. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Super thankful for each other, super thankful for God just orchestrating it all. I just want to always keep him at the center, because that's just what's going to lead to what's best anyway. Mm-hmm. And it's all for his glory. Mm-hmm. So
I love you, babe. I love you.
I love you. We can say it now.
Now we don't stop saying it.
Yep.
Also, I wanted to let you know that I did do a blog post sharing our story as well, and then I included all of the photos that Marissa took, as well as pictures that some of our friends took, and just snippets throughout the day. So I'll have that linked below if you want to check that out. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for listening to our engagement story, something that's so special to us. I will see you in my next video. Bye.